that ruined that.
It's okay.
Someone's using the shitter.
The pump house.
The pump house where we do all of our pumping.
The shit house.
Hey.
Where we take the shit.
You're a shit.
You've had to watch advertisements for the first time in 2 months, and your brain is poisoned.
I'm becoming an advertisement.
Drinking your one beer of the year, watching advertisements. It's like you went home to your family or something.
Those advertisements are pretty good, guys. I need to hear that. I can't even name a song.
The Home Depot theme.
I need to hear the Scooby-Doo theme. I need to hear Snoopy sell me some life insurance.
Snoopy? He doesn't talk.
They just use Snoopy as a life insurance ad for some reason.
That's true. They were like really well animated too.
Yeah.
I forget what company that was for.
It's God, the one with the 3 dots.
Yes.
Yeah, I forget.
3 Dot Insurance.
Progressive ...
Woo!
Oh damn.
Bamboo.
You're ready and
Yes, I'm having my yearly beer. I think 2 years ago it was Budweiser. Maybe it was the year before.
How does this one compare?
This Trader Joe's brand Oktoberfest warm beer is about the same as Budweiser or Bud Light or whatever I had. I think I had Bud Light because I was laughing the whole time.
out of 10, what do you give the warm Trader Joe pumpkin beer?
I guess like a 4, because if it was like just fine, that'd be okay, but it's like slightly worse than fine, so it's a 4 out of 10.
Would you be happy to know that Steven's got something even better than pumpkin beer for you to sip on?
That's true.
What's that?
Let's see here. We went over.
Steven had a very upsetting conversation with someone over the Wendy's loudspeaker.
You've been holding these 2 32-ounce Wendy's beverages this entire time just to tell me one of them is mine.
Well, now they're all for us to share.
There's lore here.
Oh yeah.
Happy Halloween!
Happy Halloween, guys!
Welcome to Crossing the Line, a fan fiction podcast where we read, review, and critique fan fiction for your listening pleasure. It's the 5th annual Halloween Spooktacular fan fiction writing triathlon where we write fan fictions and drink funny drinks. Here's Steven.
So, let's see here.
And there's Elias.
Hello,
I'm
this is
Jeeple.
V-Frogs.
I'm Jeeple.
I'm Steven Bluebreed.
Neither of you have scary Halloween names this year?
Ghoul Pool.
Boo-berry.
Boob.
Yeah,
Boob.
All right.
Breed.
Fair enough.
Have you seen what he draws? He's already scary enough.
No, I haven't used the internet in a long time.
That's fine. Anyway, lore dump on this thing that's not related to Halloween, but it's very important.
So I mean, your hands, they appear to be, it's dark, but they appear to be red and green, so
Go west, young man.
it's kind of scary.
Red pill or green pill?
So at Wendy's, they have 2 Rick and Morty themed flavors
Of
let's see here. There's fucking
mellow yellow.
Yeah, mellow. Yeah, mellow
Neither
yellow.
of them are yellow.
No, they invented a new soda for Rick and Morty.
I thought they were mellow yellow tie-ins.
They are.
Mellow
They
red?
are. I'm saying they are. I'm saying that'd be fucking funny. But yeah, they're mellow yellow flavors. One is like Portal something, and it's fucking green, lemon lime.
And it's green flavored.
The other is
Am I meant to just take you at your word whenever you make up these internet things?
I'm not making it up.
When you present me these strange colored ichors
this is the
and say they're the Rick
green
and Morty
soda.
would you believe the other one's not even Morty?
Elias, how much do I talk about Rick and Morty of all things? If this was Robotnik or even Joey, then maybe.
Or something remotely Halloween related, but this is fucking the mom.
Yeah, this.
It's Rick and Beth.
Yeah, it's fucking.
I hate that.
I've only seen the first season. Did people like Beth now enough for her to have a soda?
Beth has another.
She had a sex scene with herself, I think.
Yeah, she has some point in season 3, she split off with a different reality of herself who went on to be a badass, and then she came back in the recent season, and there's a whole episode of her fucking herself.
Oh.
And now Wendy's is giving you a tasty taste of what that's like.
I could see why you're aware of that.
Can you hear the fire, by the way? We're outside again. It's hot. The fire's dwindling, but it's hanging in there.
Must be the humidity. For how hot it is, the fire's having a hard time.
That's true.
But, yeah, so they have these 2 flavors, and we decided to pick them up at Wendy's on our way back. And the Wendy's we went to has all young employees.
They were all children. They were panicking.
They were all children.
There was so much wrong in that Wendy's.
You're just getting old. All fast food employees are children.
No.
We pulled up, and that guy started off sounding like he was out of fucking breath, going, we're out, we can't take cash, we're out of ice.
We don't have salad, no ice, no chocolate Frosties. I can't accept cash right now.
Yeah. Steven walked in and they started talking to him, and he just ignored them, went to the soda machine to fill up.
Then Steven said, "Do you have the Rick and Morty drinks?" And he went, "What?"
That is how it went.
It's like, I don't know the names.
It's like, do you have the Rick and Morty flavors? And like, yeah. And I was like, and he's like, I don't know the names. And I had to like read off the full stupid ass names from the fucking app.
Like 3 times.
Yeah,
You should have asked him to talk to a manager. You could have made him cry.
There was no manager in that building.
That's why.
If they didn't have ice.
I'm sure the manager was the same fucking age.
And then you'd say, now listen to me. To get out of this, all you have to do is give me the free Rick and Morty soda.
To get out of this.
Otherwise, I do need to speak to your manager.
I have an idea, alright? Give me the soda. I won't say anything, alright? Nothing about the salads or the ice.
I'll tell everyone this is a really good Wendy's.
Is this a robbery?
Fine.
No. Do not.
No, it's
We're forming a deal.
This is a consensual situation.
It's a compromise that ends in my favor. And sort of a 5-star review that doesn't mention your name.
Or this particular Wendy's.
Now, I could use the receipt to write a review directly to corporate. And I could say I got my drinks that I wanted, or I could say I didn't get my drinks that I wanted and include your name.
I could say my drink was not ice cold.
I could ask the manager who your mom is.
I could date your mom.
I could fuck your mom.
He hasn't even seen you yet. He's just talking to you.
Over the fucking loudspeaker.
Make him get his manager for a different reason.
Your kid won't tell me who his mom is.
Your kid. Is that your boy?
Your kid. My employee.
Your little shit working the register back here. First he made me say the Rick and Morty drink name.
I really didn't want to do that.
Now he won't tell me who his fuck mom is.
He won't tell me his mom's OnlyFans URL.
I know she has one.
We're gonna have a
Why
problem.
else would her son be working at Wendy's?
We're gonna have a real problem here if one of these things doesn't change, sir. Either the price on this receipt changes.
They're like, what do you want? Why are you antagonizing us?
I want the Rick and Morty drinks.
Okay.
I shouldn't have to tell you.
I shouldn't have to pay.
This is ass.
Alright, so I'm gonna pass these around. We're all gonna have a try, and we're gonna give our live thoughts.
Okay.
So first up is the funny Rick Portal lemon lime drink.
How many straws you got?
I got 2.
Well, I'm just gonna get COVID.
Okay.
I'll use my Bucky straw.
Very well, very well.
Just pour some into my hand.
Just use the straw from the red one.
Is there a cup over there?
No, that's not a cup.
Nah,
That's a thing of disinfectant.
Yeah. Yeah, just turn it in there.
That's sour.
Oh yeah, very tart.
I'll just try it.
Okay.
Okie doke.
Tastes like what is that powdered orange shit?
Tang.
It tastes like Tang.
Well, you're gonna love this one then. If that tastes like powdered Tang, that tastes like powdered Kool-Aid.
Tastes like watered
So
down.
weak.
Watered down ass fruit
That's the
punch.
best flavor.
Is there
That's why
ice
it's
in there?
weak. No, there was no ice.
Right.
There's no ice. These are at the temperature that we got them from. I shit you not. It got into my hand. I was like, what?
Yeah, I kind of like the green one, the Rick one.
Oh yeah, same.
Got some tartness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Felt instantly dehydrated from that.
the Beth flavor is just like bad Kool-Aid.
Mm-hmm.
And that's our review of the Rick and Morty drinks. Happy Halloween.
Hey kid, do you have the Beth drink? The slut from Rick and Morty, her soda?
Hey, you ever seen pictures of her online?
I want the self-cess soda. Gimme.
People draw her with some hoo-haws.
What do you think about that?
I'm gonna have to speak to your
16.
manager for showing me porn. Hi there, sir. Look at what's on my phone right now. I was having a discussion with your employee, and he told me to look up Beth from Rick and Morty R34.
I've got a story about this.
Oh,
When-
about Rick and Morty?
No, but it was like a similar situation. I was with Dakota. We were taking an Uber to.
Who's Dakota?
Dakota, my
Hubby.
husbando, my boyfriend.
Thank you.
Hell yeah.
We were going to Venice Beach near LA, and we were taking an Uber, and our Uber driver was like, "Guys, I got a hypothetical for you," and we're like, "Okay." Don't want to talk right now.
The doors lock.
Yeah. He's like, "What if everybody found out that God was real? What would you do?" And we're like, "We wouldn't really care. I don't know if that'd really change anything, because like a lot of people already think God is real." So he's like, "But what if you knew that it was really real?" It's like, I probably would still feel the same way. I wouldn't really do anything. And he just continued to propose hypotheticals for us, like just rearranging that question for the entire car ride for
Oh
like
my
15
God.
minutes. He's like, "What if somebody went on social media and showed you a picture of God on social media? What would you do?" Like, we probably wouldn't care. And every single time, we would go, we wouldn't care, we would not care. Even if he was real, we would know and not care that it was real.
What if there was a person who what if you found out someone was real and it just so happened that person was God, as it turns out?
Wow, I wouldn't care. I wouldn't care if God was real. If he was
But
real,
what
I
if
would
you
not
read
care.
a book, alright, and it had like this dude in it, and it turned out that dude was a real person because the book is non-fiction, and it turns out
Spider-Man?
that person was God.
Tobey
That
Maguire?
would be cool, but it wouldn't affect my life because if it was real, it wouldn't
But
affect
what if
my
you were
life.
playing a video game, and it was based on true events, and it turns out the main character was God?
If my life was the same yesterday, and God was still real yesterday.
What if you looked on a quarter, and that quarter was on heads, which means the person that's on it was a real person at some point, and it was Jesus Christ / God?
Stop! I don't care! Nobody would care!
Son, we're in a roundabout. We can stay for as long as we need.
Millions of people believe this wholeheartedly to be true and care as much as they care as they would care.
Oh, I can run up the meter as much as I want. You're the one on a time limit.
Did anybody write about God in their fan fictions?
No.
This is the episode where we write our own fan fictions. We prove our superiority to all of our peers, including all of those that use fanfiction.net, AO3.org.
AOL.com.
Oh yeah, I gotta upload mine. I had to take mine back because I stopped to charge my phone earlier and then I wanted to add something.
Oh,
I got you.
and you just now remembered.
So it's not online. It's only in my drive on a Google Cloud.
That's fine.
Okey-doke.
Only Alphabet has my story.
Well,
What's the name of Google's CEO?
Bill Trinan.
It's like a Indian dude, right?
Susan Wojcinski.
It's YouTube.
Mike Wazowski.
Okay, Stewball, would you like to take a gander at my story?
Sure would, sure
This
would.
happy Halloween haunted tale.
Hell yeah, sounds good to me.
Okay, do not click the screen at all or it'll show you the title.
Oh, don't worry, I won't.
Halloween!
Woo! It was a cool, crisp autumn afternoon. At 12:30 p.m., the alarm went off, playing Goodbye Summer, Hello Winter. A long, slender arm reached out from under a large blanket, reaching blindly for the phone to turn off the catchy and iconic jingle. After a few desperate grabs, the alarm was eventually snoozed, leaving the room silent sans the white noise coming from the fans. After some fumbling around under the covers, they made their way to start their day, grabbing a blue-collared shirt from the line of blue-collared shirts in the closet. While combing in today's prescription of keeps into his hair, Jared suddenly heard a ring from the doorbell. Strange. He didn't recall ordering anything for today.
Did you figure it out?
Is it, I mean, just judging by the blue-collared shirt and the keeps, I would think it's,
And the theme song.
the Irate Gamer.
No.
Okay.
Marching.
Just look up the theme song.
What, Goodbye
Summer, Hello
He also
Winter.
said his name, but you must have missed that.
Jared?
Yeah.
I'm looking it up.
And put that into the microphone.
Oh, Pro Jared. Pro Jared. I've not visually interacted with him enough to know that much about him.
What about the picture I sent to chat?
Is it the one of his penis?
Close.
His peanut.
Thankfully, I've only seen crops of that with his face. But I can infer by his face what it looks like, I think.
That's a new one. I don't think I've ever heard someone say, I know what his dick looks like from the look of his face.
If someone looked at you and pulled their pants down, but you didn't look down, you just knew that they were pulling their pants down, based on the expression they were giving you, I think you can infer what they're presenting to you.
He just looks sleepy and bored.
No, he has a cool smirk.
No, he's being epic. he's being cool.
The one fucking pose bone in his upper lip pulling upward.
The one pose bone in his boner.
He's horny, so his mind is doing more of the work for him.
That was a good arc.
Oh my
Now
God.
he does Now in the 90s. It's very informative.
I only saw the video where he was really sweaty and apologizing. And I was like, huh. Based on this video, should I watch his previous or future content? I've seen the cropped image of his cock in his apology video, nothing else.
He did look very disheveled in that video.
Oh, absolutely.
But he's better now.
I felt the need to judge him and watch that video, having seen none of his content.
Marching to the front door, he opened it wide, and sure enough, there was a box right at his doorstep. No notable markings or brandings on it. Looking around, he noticed a figure of sorts watching him from inside of a large truck, but before Jared could make out any features, they drove away. While suspicious of the
It's
whole...
the FedEx truck, Jared.
Oh, no.
You don't need to make out any features.
I don't recognize him.
What's he doing in my neighborhood?
I haven't seen
FedEx.
that car around here.
A big brown,
The feds, oh no.
big UPS.
FedEx? An ex-Fed?
The feds, oh no.
An EX-Fed
I
agent?
better call 911.
A federal EX plus alpha agent?
While suspicious of the whole situation, the curiosity got the better of him. He picked up the box and brought it with him into his studio. Using his X-Acto knife from his box opening streams, Jared carved into the package's taped up top. The insides of the box were filled with different newspapers and junk mail used as a sort of wrapping paper or packaging. Pulling aside wads of paper, the paranoid pro eventually felt something solid in his hands. Once he uncovered the prize, he lifted an eyebrow, confused at what he saw. In his hands was a GameCube copy of Spider-Man the movie from 2002.
Whoa.
Was this just a fan's way of requesting that he do a Let's Play or review of the game? But why would they drop it on his doorstep with no note? And even more pressing is, how did they know where he lived?
Yeah. Like,
Honestly.
straight to his house with no address.
No
note.
P.O. box.
His doorstep.
They went the extra mile to dox him just to send him a game.
Kiwi Farms. Brushing off that horrifying thought, Jared opened the game case. A cloud of dust puffed out from within, making the gangly gamer cough. Oh man, this shit hasn't been touched in years, Jared announced through his assaulted lungs. He blew the rest of the dust out of the case. Despite it all, the game's case and manual seemed to be in fair enough condition. Inspecting the tiny disc, he noted in how surprisingly clean its back was, only one or two tiny scratches that surely won't affect gameplay. Jared looked at himself in the reflection on the disc, pondering on what he should do in this situation. You know what? He said out loud. I think I'll give this guy just what he wants. I'll play his shitty Spider-Man game and really let him know how uncool it is to leave a package unannounced on someone's front doorstep.
You're talking to yourself and letting him win, Jared.
I was about to say.
Your pro Jared voice is very nasally.
I don't know.
He's all nasal.
I forgot how he sounds. So my brain tried to come up with a voice for him based on his appearance. I was like, he got a big nose and a long neck, so he probably sounds like a dead flute.
I can put on a video.
Yeah, but no audio, so he can see more of the...
Pro Jared Halloween. Pro Jared in a Halloween costume. Pro Jared scary. Pro Jared dick.
How the bro Jared stole Halloween.
Fucking
Skooks. Pro Jared
I
Skooks.
hate this controller. Why is it not the same buttons as the PS4?
Sure, blame the controller.
It's like the square where the square would be.
Oh, it's like lagging too.
Yeah, it is. Bear with us, folks. There's not a hell of a strong connection out here in the woods.
The Switch wants to play Skooks so bad.
It wants to play Skooks and not Pro Jared.
It also uses the stupid Nintendo, like, built-in thing. Built-in keyboard.
Oh, yeah.
Hold on, there's a little NAS ad. Hold on.
Little nass.
Little ass.
A little nasty. Hold on, there's a State Farm ad.
Yeah, State Farm.
Welcome to Now in the 90s.
He's not wearing his collar shirt.
He doesn't do that now in the 90s.
30 years ago today. This week, we got an incredibly ambitious NES RPG, a platforming featuring an iconic...
Let's see here. A cunt.
A platformer featuring a cunt who I hate.
You know what? He said out loud.
Thank you.
I think I'll give this guy just what he wants. I'll play his shitty Spider-Man game and really let him know how uncool it is to leave a package unannounced on someone's front doorstep. With that, Jared went to his setup to start recording his gameplay and commentary for his forlorn wall crawling experience.
He's gonna record it?
Why would he just play it on his own? He can make content out of it.
True. He is ready to give his mystery fan a piece of his mind in this one-off Let's Play.
He'll be so petty.
Locking the disc in place inside the GameCube, he hit the power button and slammed record in his OBS recording screen. Hi, he began rather aggressively. Welcome back to Pro Jared Plays, and this, pause for effect, is Spider-Man the movie, the game, on GameCube. Now here's a weird bit of backstory for this one. Like some sort of cursed Halloween creepypasta, this game just found itself on my doorstep this morning. So I thought, hey, what better to do with a free game than to show it off for you guys? Because I know one of you out there would really like to see me play it. So that's exactly what we're gonna do. The game loaded into the opening movie, where even the pre-rendered CG fight scene between Spider-Man and the Green Goblin was showing his age. Jared tried to find positives where he could, but the game was not making it easy.
This may also be my hit piece on Spider-Man the movie, the game.
I was thinking that you just played this.
It's still fresh on my mind.
Fucking beautiful. The title screen was rather bland and featured a very short music loop that he knew would get grating rather quick. Brushing past all of the movie's opening sequences in a single cutscene, which unfortunately includes the wrestling match with Bonesaw, that could have honestly been a very engaging tutorial boss fight, as you could learn the base mechanics of combat and wall crawling inside the steel cage. We end on Uncle Ben's murder and Peter Parker's sorrow. The gameplay finally begins as the human spider looks to hunt down the killer. Alright, so you've got your standard stuff with the Spider-Man game, though this one actually plays more like one of those old PS1 games where you could swing from anywhere, even the clouds, and just button mash to take down those hoodlums. I get there's supposed to be a pretty intensive combo system here that you can unlock, but having such a small arsenal really does make these repeating goons feel really repetitive. After hurting an arbitrary number of grunt enemies, Peter is finally directed to the location of his target and stealthily makes his way inside. More baddies wait to get bashed. One even tries to squash the wall crawler with a truck. Fortunately, Jared was able to move away from this instant kill cheap shot just in time. Finally, he navigated his way into the boss arena, as indicated by the mean mug on the health bar that just popped up on the screen. Alright, bastard, you're gonna pay for what you did to Uncle Ben. Wait, that's a shotgun! Jared dodged left and right as Spider-Man, as the murderer began to fire off rounds from his large weapon. Spider-Man was able to maneuver around these shots, but it was really difficult to find a safe opening to come in for a counterattack. This was quite the tough first boss, that was for sure. Just then, just when Jared was finally able to find a sweet spot and land some blows, the villain quickly retaliated with a point-blank shot. Control was suddenly taken from Jared. The human spider wasn't reacting to any of the inputs.
He died.
Oh no. You swiped left 1 millimeter and broke the fanfiction app.
No, it's okay. I can see. It saved a spot, thankfully. Let's see here.
Jared's very scary Halloween Spider-Man Let's Play.
Oh no. It was like the game glitched or something. From there, Peter slowly turned toward the camera to face the player, his chest filled with holes all oozing with low poly blood effects. Oh no! Jared's eyes widened greatly, and boy can they widen.
He turned to the video feed where his eyes are half open.
It's like dark in his fucking stream house, so they're like moonlight.
I imagine he could look like an owl if he really wanted to.
Like a vulture.
Stop comparing him to birds.
Fucking flamingo ass. Jared's eyes widened greatly watching this dark imagery in front of him. Peter reached out a hand towards the screen before falling over.
He's so small on screen.
His health bar instantly drained.
He doesn't even have fingers.
Jesus! Shouted the entertainer.
It's a video game, Jared.
That is so fucked up. I know there are guns and stuff in this game, but it's still rated E for everyone. I can't believe they were able to just show something so grim.
He's getting so offended of this old game.
I guess let's just try again? Jared hit the retry button on the screen, but when the game reloaded, he wasn't in the same place anymore.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting he's doing a Let's Play, not just talking to himself.
He needs content so bad.
He's got to keep in practice, even when he's doing a personal play. The game loaded into some station level with the Scorpion, who wasn't even in the movie. Peter was still in his human spider costume, which really didn't seem right, but regardless, Jared played on. Shooting web balls at the boss seemed the most effective. They did decent enough damage and allowed him to stay clear of the Scorpion's long tail and command grabs. Right when the boss's health had gone as low as the bar could go, it seemed as though he had stopped taking damage. None of Peter's attacks were having any effect outside the small amount of hit stun. The music had stopped, so there was nothing but sound effects and quips coming from the game. It was purely an endurance battle at this point, but eventually Scorpion was able to best the gamer. Was there some trick to the fight that he had missed? This game is bullshit. I mean, what am I supposed to do against that? Is there some sort of secret move that I don't know about that I have to finish this guy with? I don't get it.
Jared, they sent you a modded game. They're trolling you.
Yeah, they sure fucking did. Hitting retry started the fight over, but this time Peter's health bar was completely empty. The boss ended the fight immediately before Jared could react, causing his jaw to drop to the floor in shock. What was that? The game just forgot to give me health that time. I knew this game was janky, but this is honestly undefendable. I'm sorry, whoever sent this to me, but it's just a mess. This time, when Jared hit retry, he was once again warped to a further part in the game, causing him to look shocked and puzzled in the eyes of the webcam. It looked like he was suddenly at the end of the game, fighting the Green Goblin himself. Willem Dafoe's sweet, sinister voice lines working their magic as Spider-Man, who is still the human spider, began his battle on the bridge. Since the Goblin was able to fly around on his glider, it made combat tougher than it already is. Jared was able to get Goblin off his glider for a moment to do some damage, but he quickly made his way back into the sky. Out of web fluid, he made Spider-Man run around on an extra cartridge at the end of the bridge. With his back turned, he couldn't see what was about to happen. Norman Osborn's glider, blades drawn, charged at Peter from behind, piercing the youthful hero in the back and pinning him into the wall. The camera failed to keep up as the polygonal corpse was flung into the background, barely visible. Once again, Jared was shocked at the level of gore featured here. 2 trails of blood, one from each wound, led from where Spidey was standing all the way to where he met his demise. Jared mashed buttons trying to bring up a menu or retry or get any sort of response from the game, but it was all fruitless. What the fuck is going on in this game? Did they really release a Spider-Man game like this? How have I never heard about the dark edge energy that this game has? I mean, clearly I've been dealing with some level warping glitches, but you can't glitch gore like this. Someone out there had to animate all these horrifying death scenes. This is crazy! Suddenly the camera started to move again. It wasn't a smooth motion, though. It was like it was being handled manually. That theory quickly became fact when the Green Goblin pointed the camera right at his face. While the model wasn't rigged to show his mouth under the mask, you could hear the Goblin cackling as he looked right into the camera. He pointed it back over to Peter and manually zoomed in so Jared could get a better look. Between his laughs, the Goblin began to sing.
No!
Itsy bitsy spider went up the water spout. Down came the Goblin and flushed the spider out.
What did you think he was going to sing?
I don't know, but I thought you were going to write a whole song or something.
Do the Humpty Hump.
Him turning the in-game camera into a real camera that he can zoom in and out with.
You're going to turn into a Just Dance scene.
Jared was stunned into silence. He had no words for what he was seeing on his screen. A real shame, isn't it? Norman began. Strong enough to have it all, but too weak to take it. Could have been one hell of a team. The Goblin once again held the camera up to face him, his early GameCube era model looking straight at the player. And what about you? The controller slipped out of Jared's now sweaty hands. He started to cough hard, seemingly out of nowhere. This was fucked up, whatever was even happening. He could hardly hear himself think as the goblin cackled. Quickly jumped up to turn the GameCube off. The TV feed, now nothing but a low hum and a no-signal logo. Jared got up to get some air and take a breather from whatever the hell just happened to him. Inside the bathroom, Jared washed his face in the cool water, trying to calm down. He looked at himself in the mirror as he caught his breath. Shaking his head at the whole situation, he reached for a towel to dry his face off. After doing so, he caught another glance at himself in the mirror, only this time he wore a wicked grin across his face. Jared jumped back in fright, rubbed his eyes, but nothing changed. He couldn't tell if he had lost it or his eyes really were playing tricks on him. So, what'll it be? The reflection smirked. I don't know what's going on, Jared seemingly replied to himself. You want it all, don't you? Fame, wealth, power. You can't deny it, so don't even bother.
He's gonna open a nudes Discord server.
What do you want? To say that you want to do what you can't. This is crazy! Jared ran out of the bathroom, hearing nothing but cackling in his head. He ended up back in his recording studio to grab his phone, his reflection in the dark screen laughing harder and harder. Pocketing the phone, he quickly grabbed the game out of the console, tossed it haphazardly back into its case, and the case into the box. He carried the package with him outside, looking for any signs of whoever it was he saw earlier. This isn't funny! He screamed loudly into the neighborhood. Come out, whoever you are! I'm calling the police and your ass is gonna be arrested!
Kick it into the drain pipe, Jared.
Hide in the drain pipe, Jared. Panting heavily, he looked around more and more before running across his yard toward the street. Something had caught his foot, and he ended up falling face first on the ground. The box flying out of his hands, and the contents spilling out from inside. Jared tilted his head up to see, shocked once again by a sinister reflection in the back of the game disc, which had fallen out of its case. He began to sob, desperately looking for answers to anything that's going through his head. Looking past the disc, he knows something else glint from inside the box, still covered in old newspapers. Slowly, he pulled himself forward, reaching for whatever it was that caught his eye. With tears in his eyes, he grabbed at what was in the box. He sat up and rested on his knees. In his hands was a photograph. The memory was full of those who he had once known, that he had once called him friend. A joint endeavor between content creators. They were never happier than when they had all come together to form Normal Boots. Or at least that's what Jared thought. His hand shook, but only for a moment. His sorrow had shifted. He suddenly no longer felt misery and confusion. He realized now that he didn't want any answers. He didn't want any sort of resolution. He just wanted things to go back to when they were normal. The end. Fucking beautiful, I love it.
Thank you, I really weaved a web there.
That was great, holy shit.
I didn't expect that to be Jared struggling with his past and future.
There's a lot.
Evil Jared.
I like the idea of him just doing like a freeform on-the-spot Let's Play. Like it wasn't prepared, it was just real.
Doing it out of spite.
Did you like that someone filled the GameCube case with goblin dust?
Yeah.
He breathed in a big smoke cloud.
A big comedy cloud of goblin dust.
It was coffee. And it was dusty.
Mm-hmm.
Gerard put a bunch of Smarty dust in there.
The completionist?
Yeah.
The buff boy.
The buff boy. Fucking beautiful.
I rate that story 2 sides of the goblin.
I rate that story, Jared looking like a fucking crow gawking into the webcam while he watches Peter Parker die.
Hey! It's just an actual scene.
Thanks.
It's a very positive one. I love the image of him doing that.
Okay.
Him going, ah!
I wanted to write a creepypasta story, and the thought of Jared having those Norman Osborn mirror scenes was really funny to me.
Yeah, that was great.
I was thinking when that came up, that's what you wanted to like out of that.
Him looking so fucking cocky in the mirror.
Yeah, he gets this like posh like presentation of himself as he's looking around.
Right.
So just do what you can't, to say what you won't.
You were right. Those were your nudes, Jared.
I could squash you like a bug right now.
Okay, let's go down the table.
Okay,
There you go.
woohoo! Woo. Let me see what this spooky, scary story is about.
Hell yeah. I've given up my beer after like 3 sips. It's not good at all.
One day you'll find one. A premier pumpkin beer.
Perfect pumpkin spice.
This tale is based on a true story. Since last Halloween, this author had taken many odd jobs, from nighttime security guard to pizza delivery driver. The worst of them all, by far, was driving for Uber Eats. Sure, it starts out pretty good. If you were lucky enough to get a food order and not a Walmart pickup, you might make $25 an hour. But before long, you start getting requests for a $1 or $2 gain. That still takes 30 minutes. You'd still be stuck waiting outside some sketchy restaurant at night in the middle of nowhere alone, for hours at a time, for almost nothing in return. And you just have to wait. Is this a story about you?
It is based on something I can't stop thinking about, which
Cool.
is this place I went to.
If you reject a request or cancel mid-delivery, it can shadow ban you from better deliveries, tank your long-term income, so you take a lot of bad requests. This is the story of one such request. Without further ado, it was a long, dark Halloween night. Crime was slow. It's hard to tell on Halloween how much is legit. Almost none of it ever is. But even so, Bob was on patrol. He was wearing an orange ski mask and an orange shirt. He had drawn a jack-o'-lantern on in black Sharpie. He was calling himself...
What was he calling himself? Fucking say it.
Something he would never do. He was calling himself the
What?
the Jacker. In case anyone asked. He hoped someone would ask. That is so stupid.
I am called the Jacker. In case someone asks. I hope they ask.
What voice is that?
Bob. Food dip.
This is not that Bob.
Why would that Bob be controlling crime?
One other. My only 2 Bobs were not him.
I've got time, Mr. Incredible said, accepting his 5th Uber Eats order on the same delivery.
That big ass man.
Calling himself the Jacker.
Oh my god.
Knowing full well that by taking this next order, his first 2 deliveries would be cold, dry, and over an hour late. Since crime was slow and Uber kept him driving around, he took a lot of deliveries. Why not? The app let him keep accepting orders, so why shouldn't he keep pressing accept? A late delivery here or there isn't a crime, as long as you don't mind working for less than legal minimum wage as a driver. Bob didn't. He knew what it meant to work hard, and Flash would do well to remember that when he gets his first job, Bob thought.
Oh no.
Bob lazily glanced at his current order, a pickup for quote-unquote Mr. Beast Burger. The delivery was over $100. His eyes grew wide. Holy moly, I haven't had an order of more than $5 in weeks. He hit the gas, finally something worth his time. looking at the map on his phone instead of the road because it's faster. He sped through the several red lights as he was what could loosely be called driving. He got a call on his cell phone. It was Dash. Hello, Bob speaking.
Dad, it's Dash. Where are you? Soccer let out 2 hours ago.
Oh, hi, son. I'm not on patrol. Bob shifted his eyes and looked over his shoulders in both directions one at a time, then put his mouth back to the phone. Anyway, I'll be right there. I was just picking up food at... He checks his phone again. Mr. Beast Burger.
Wow, Dad, no way!
Dash shouted. Bob covered his ears with a pained expression, then put his ear back to the phone.
That's your kid!
Yeah.
Oh, why do you talk like that?
Why do you run your mouth as fast as you run?
So how long until you're here, Dad?
Bob checked his GPS, which said his current delivery should be done in about 2 hours. Give me 30 minutes tops. I'll be home. I'll be there at 6:30 p.m. sharp.
What a fucking bastard.
Why don't we meet at home? You can run there pretty quick, I bet.
Dad, it's Halloween. You always make me run home. I'm tired.
It's good exercise, you know.
Fine, Dad. But you better get me extra fries, since last time you...
Bob hung up and smiled large. Super Dad has done it again.
What a fuckface, my god.
He's trying his best to live his best life.
The jacker strikes again. I'm never gonna forget that.
Were you like rolling on the floor laughing when you thought of the jacker?
No. I don't remember. I was working. I was like on my laptop while I was working at the coffee shop. I was just like typing shit.
He just said he calls himself the jacker.
Someone's
I was mainly laughing at hoping that you drew the thumbnail with him in an orange shirt with the Sharpie jack-o'-lantern.
Well,
I just imagine someone fucking looking up at the menu and you just randomly collapse at the counter spilling coffee.
I've got one hand on the laptop listening to them.
Stephen can Oh, we got a train coming through. Train moment. Hype train.
Woo!
Steven can probably like retexture paint Bob Parr's Rise of the Underminer model.
Absolutely, I will do that. That sounds like a good time.
Returning to the task at hand, he made a U-turn and headed into the direction of Mr. Beastburger. Looking at his GPS, he made another U-turn. Wait a minute, where was this place? Stopping the car, he stepped out in the middle of the road. There were no cars coming in either direction. The sun had set. It was dark, and he was under an overpass out near the edge of town. On one side of the overpass, under the supporting pillars, was a laundromat, or at least that's what the sign said. Looking down at his phone, this must be the place. No parking, so he walked up to it, leaving his car in the road with the hazards flashing. Approaching the place, he could see the windows had been boarded up, and in the center there was a modern-looking door. There were a 2-inch by 5-inch slot near the top of the door, and another slot near the center that was a bit wider. Bob knocked on the door. No response. After 15 or so seconds, he knocked again. No response. He walked around the building. Everything was boarded up.
Oh, no.
Around back on another boarded up window, facing the concrete overpass, was a menu. It was for an Italian drive-thru. Weird. The menu had pizza, pasta, and some other things that Bob figured were Italian, but he couldn't care less. He also couldn't figure out why it was boarded up window facing a direction with no door or walkway behind this building. He went back around the front to try the door, but before he could knock the top slot open, a pair of eyes met his and said, "Picking up?" Bob checked his phone. Yes, sir. I'm picking up for a Sanji."
Oh, no.
The slot closed rapidly. Bob heard footsteps going downstairs, where they must have been the stairs, but that didn't make any sense. The building was clearly 1 story, and there couldn't be a basement under an overpass, would there? In the city he lived, basements weren't really a thing. They were below sea level. Weird. After a few minutes, Bob knocked again. No response. He checked his phone. 20 unread texts from Dash, 10 from Helen. Oh, 2 from Frozone. A notification that his delivery was over an hour late. Ah, right. He looked up at the door and punched a hole through the bottom slot, then reached around inside for the handle. There was no handle. Bob kind of pushed the door with his knee, and it creaked open.
Holy fuck.
It's so funny when you remember the guy has superpowers.
Yeah, super.
You gotta save it sparingly.
Oh my goodness.
He pulled his hand out of the door and walked inside. It was a laundromat, all right. There was a light bulb hanging in the center of the room, shedding some dim light, and a bunch of washing machines with flashing displays leaving a pulsing red glow, like they were plugged in but hadn't been set up yet. Why? Mr. Beast! Bob yelled as he wandered through the room, eventually finding a door at the back of the room. He opened it up and walked inside, and down the stairs he fell.
No, not again!
Bob tumbled down and down into the abyss. He must have went 2 or 3 stories before crashing down and into a pile of tiny boxes. Oh, my back! Oh, no! Bob adjusted his eyes. That couldn't be right. Before him, in a brightly lit room, was a man in a Mario costume, standing at a metal prep table in a kitchen with his hands on his cheeks, making the Home Alone face. Now, this was Halloween, but Bob knew instantly that this man wore this crap every day, and his back was killing him. All right, where the hell is my burger? Bob shouted at the cosplay nerd before him. You're killing Steven.
Oh my god. The idea of him having to put up with him's so funny.
The man looked back and forth between Bob and a long line of prep tickets exploding out of a small printer on the counter. Now, Bob had worked a day or 2 in fast food back in high school, so he was able to quickly piece together the situation. Jesus Christ, man, get it together! He got up and pushed Mario aside, then began reading the tickets. Mr. Beast! You've got 100 of these burger orders, and my name is towards the bottom. I'm not Mr. Beast. My name is Rich Alvarez, but you can call me Mario. I just work for the Mr. Beast. This here is a Mr. Beast franchise official location, formerly Carl's Jr.'s, that I own. I'll have you know, we're now accepting Uber Eats, you know.
I just pieced together the Italian shit outside.
He sowed the seeds.
I'm so mad. Oh my god. Formerly a Carl's Jr.
You said this happened to you?
What are you not telling us, Elias?
How much happened can be left to your imagination?
Is this just from is this just you recounting when we showed you Mario Drive-Thru?
That really fucked him up.
Oh, God.
Bob looked down on Rich with the disappointed but understanding expression of a parent who just watched his son sit on the bench through the whole football game, only to still be allowed to celebrate with his team. Okay, listen, kid. I'm just gonna make myself a burger and go. Mario recognized the expression from his own childhood and quickly retorted, Listen, sir, this is my restaurant. If you want to work here, we're hiring for $100 an hour.
Oh,
Bob-
bullshit.
Bob blinked twice slowly. Was this guy an idiot? You what? Rich said again. Are you having a hard time imagining this 3D Pixar model in this real-life Mario?
I'm imagining him when he's at his fucking desk job in the first movie. Like, but it's him slowly blinking at Mario. Oh my god.
We're hiring. Mr. Beast pays all of his employees $100 an hour. Bob said, Well then, why don't you have any employees? Rich looked visibly uncomfortable, but after a moment explained, Well, I hired about 20 employees, but they all quit after their first paycheck or took their full 2 weeks of legally required sick time and then quit. Bob shook his head. Well, there's your problem. Bob pointed a fat finger into Rich's chest. You've got to pay these kids minimum wage or else and make them work for those raises incrementally, Mario.
It's or less. To say else.
I said or less.
Yeah. You got to pay those kids minimum wage or less.
Or less. And make them work for their raises incrementally, Mario. Mario began to speak, but Bob interrupted him. And that's it if they're lucky. Bob began to smile, beaming even. When I was a kid, the boss would promise us a raise, not give it to us. They'd get mad when we asked about it. Rich looked at him to wait and see if he was done. Bob just kept smiling. Rich raised a finger, then Bob kept quiet. Oh, I'll work for you, Mario, but only if we do this right. I'll start with minimum wage, and then if I earn it, I might get a raise.
Richie's gonna be drunk with power.
Rich shrugged and said, Let's start with order number 20.
Okie day.
Bob smiled, and they got to work on the line. After about an hour, they got into a good flow. Rich would yell out orders, and Bob would make them. A tired and sad expression on his face as he carried on with no sign of slowing
Wearing
down.
a fucking hairnet and an apron.
The jacker strikes again.
On job mode.
The fucking Sharpie.
He likes it like that.
The Sharpie in his shirt seeping down into his pants.
At about 8:30 p.m., 2 hours after Bob said he'd be home, they got to his order. Bob's eyes lit up, suddenly remembering why he was hunched over in the basement making burgers. Rich shouted, 1 burger for Sanji. Hold the onions, hold the pickles, hold the lettuce, hold the mayo, hold the mustard, hold the ketchup, hold the buns. Bob raised an eyebrow. So he just wants the patty? Rich shrugged. Guess so. Bob picked up a patty with his bare hands as he had done 100 times and tossed it on the grill. As soon as beef hit heat, a knock was heard upstairs. Well, it was more of a bang on the door, like someone had kicked it hard. Hard that the two could feel it. Bob and Mario looked at each other, then Rich went upstairs to check it out. Bob looked down. His patty had been knocked onto the floor from the bang. Bob considered this. I mean, his boss wasn't looking. Surely the patty was still good. He could just pick it up and put it back on the grill. Well, while he was at it, he could just place it in the box. What's the worst that could happen? Somebody gets sick, someone complains. So what? If this burger was nasty, that's on Mr. Beast's name, not his. He smiled, remembering that he didn't actually work here and he could just leave with his patty now that the boss was gone. And so Bob picked up the patty off the ground, placed it in a box, still raw as hell, and closed it shut, placing the name Sanji on top with a sticker, and headed upstairs.
Oh my fucking god.
Anticipation.
What a fucking
What a thing to do.
After he did all this talk of the good old days and like all this old-timey pride and shit, and he does like the most stereotypical teenager thing.
As Bob reached the stairs, he had looked up. At the top of the staircase was the silhouette of a tall, lanky man staring back down at him. A booming Brooklyn accent could be heard echoing from up high. Is that my order? The name should be Sanji. Bob looked down at the box he was holding. It read, Sanji. Bob looked up, then down at the box again, then up again, then down at the box again, then up again, then down at the box again, then up again. No, this patty is for Sanjay. The shadowy figure leapt down, leg extended, 2 stories of hang time. His leg ignited the instant before contact. His heel connected with Bob's neck, and a loud crack could be heard in an explosion of fire and smoke. When the dust cleared, there stood Bob, unmoving, as if he hadn't felt a thing. His head slowly craned down to look upon his now crooked cook, who was clutching his broken, malformed ankle and rolling around the floor.
Oh no!
Hey, you fucking piece of shit! Minimum wage, fast food, fat dude, bastard! Bob didn't seem to acknowledge the curse words, but did notice the man was wearing a pinstriped suit for Halloween, which made Bob smile. He said, "Nice costume, kid. Here's your burger." Reaching into the box and tossing the wet and raw patty on top of Sanji's teary-eyed head, then smiling like he got away with something, before quickly jogging up the stairs, panting all the way. Leaping over the similarly disheveled Mario, who appeared to have been kicked in the gut, a telltale foothole in the front door besides Bob's own fist hole. Bob shimmied into the car and checked his phone. "By God," he said. It was almost midnight. "No point in going home now," he said out loud to no one, then smiled again before his phone dinged. It was an Uber review, 1 star from Sanji.
He's on the floor,
holding his leg in one hand and his phone in the other.
He can't waste food. He had to bite into a raw patty.
Give it the 1-star review.
Yeah. It's not cooked.
He's forgots to cook it. I thinks it hit the ground.
No seasonings.
I paid $100 for this.
He laughed, knowing full well that no bad reviews could get him fired when he was his own boss. But just then a bang was heard from the hood of his car. Checking his mirror, a foot-shaped dent landed right next to his head. Bob put his hands to his head with a surprised face, like, "What did I do?" Before another kick came through the windshield, smattering glass in the eyes and all over his face. "Oh, God dang it!" Bob rubbed his eyes, making things infinitely worse, before feeling around in his glove box for something. A blonde head of hair peered down through his now broken window and held out a raw patty. "And what the hell is this, you shitty cook? I oughta put you back in that kitchen and teach you how to boil some fucking water before you kill someone. Is that what Mr. Beats teaches in his $20 YouTube Red cooking course? How to serve fucking red raw meat?" Bob had found what he was looking for and quickly aimed his gun at Sanji's other leg, firing a .22 round into his good ankle. Sanji crumbled onto the hood of his car. "Oh, you Bester! Bob had hit the reverse, crashing into the Mr. Beast burger.
Taste blood! Holy shit!
And causing Sanji to fly off out from underneath the car and hit dirt. Then Bob hit the gas and flattened Sanji so quick it would have put Dash to shame. Thump, thump.
No! Oh, God!
He sped away, checking his rear view, going as fast as the Incredimobile would allow, already sighing with relief. But what was that in the rear view? On the hood of his trunk, there was a hand with a pinstripe sleeve.
Oh, no!
One hand, then another. Crawling closer and closer to the rearview mirror window was none other than Sanjay. His bloodied face almost unrecognizable without the suit. Began bashing his head against the back window. Crack, crack. A muffled jumble of Brooklyn swears could be heard. Oh, now Bob understood. He wanted an autograph. Bob piped up, "I work alone, buddy," and hit the turbo, turning the man in the pinstripe suit to ash and propelling Bob into the nearest Burger King at 200 miles an hour. Boom! Just like that, up in smoke and ashes flew into the cool October night. The end.
Holy shit! Oh my God!
Well, it was October, so it qualifies.
He was the jacker the whole time.
Oh, yeah. I forgot. It's Halloween. How could I forget?
Legend of the Jacker.
Oh my God, I rate that a fucking getting to Burger King according to himself in the faster way out of 10. Without looking as faster, apparently.
I rate that a hard day's work out of 10.
It's true, he put in some hours.
He
Two of them.
Fucking the raw patty.
He was there until midnight. Sanji would not give up the goat.
Sanji rubbed the meat in his face and he shot him in the ankle instantly.
He went for his piece.
This is what they teach you in the YouTube red cooking class, how to cook raw fucking red meat.
Teach you how to boil water.
I'll drag you back down there and teach you how to fucking boil water before you kill somebody.
You're fucking seeing Real Town is so funny.
God, I laughed so hard, I could smell blood for a little bit. Holy shit.
That's just the Kool-Aid. I mean, Beth juice.
True.
The Beth Blast.
Or sweet self juice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Hey, that was pretty good.
True.
Alright.
Alright,
Time for one final spooky story of the night, hosted by Elvira herself. Wow, she's really here.
Woo!
Elvira.
Okay, boobles.
Hey. Respect her.
Okay, I respect her. I just think she has big boobs. Respectful.
You don't think that, you know that. I think your boobs are pretty big.
There's a bootleg Elvira video somewhere where you can finally see her boobs.
Hell yeah.
Halloween legend.
There's funny drawings of Elvira where her face is like really realistic, but then she's just like drawn on like a porn actress's body.
Yeah.
It's really funny. She's just like probably not. She's just like smiling, but then she's also getting fucked.
Oh, I can imagine.
Oh yeah, those shitty fucking the deep fakes.
They're not deep fakes. They're like drawn with like pastel.
Oh, those, yeah.
Yeah, me and Devin looked them up and laughed a lot.
I don't doubt it.
I get the feeling that a lot of her content was physical at the time. There's probably a lot of lost media around Elvira.
True.
There's at least one time where there's a nip and slip.
There's gotta be!
Alive.
There's gotta be somewhere.
We need to fucking blame it on Jorge or whatever. Elvira's lost nipple.
Is there an Elvira lost nipple?
I believe.
If I saw Elvira's nipples, I would
Chills?
be so yeah. Top 10 nip slips.
Top 10 possible nip slips.
Number
You can
8.
see here where the video cuts in a strange way. She must have recovered. Elvira's areola.
Holy shit.
Alright,
buddy.
take us home, buddy.
Okay. Chapter 1. Postpone Penance.
Okay.
It was a cool Halloween afternoon on Ocean Avenue, and the Belcher family was hard at work waiting for customers to come in so they could afford rent.
And my brain like slingshotted from Rocket Power to Bob's Burgers so
Ocean
quickly.
Shores.
Yeah, Ocean Avenue.
The Shake Shack. The family
Tito
man.
Belcher.
The family man, Bob Belcher, was standing in the back, mindlessly cleaning the grill. He stood there, scraping and wiping, in hopes that soon the dinner rush would provide him the chance to finally start dishing out his new burger of the day, the Say Cheese and Cry burger, a double cheeseburger with a lot of fucking onions. But alas, the sour, sweet wind of the Halloween season did not make more residents of New Jersey Island come into this one specific burger joint.
This is at least your second Halloween story with the words sour, sweet wind.
I love it.
It's such a repulsive term.
I think New Jersey Island earned it.
Oh yeah, you did say New Jersey Island. How about that? One day we'll find Laftel.
But alas, the sour, sweet wind of the Halloween season did not make more residents of New Jersey Island come into this one specific burger joint. Not for Bob's funny onion burgers. Bob stood looking out the window of the kitchen, a wide-eyed look of concern glued to his face as he felt his bank account hit the red. Oh, God, he muttered to himself.
It's a pretty good Bob Belcher.
His wife, Linda Belcher, could sense her husband in distress. She turned to the kitchen window. "Oh, Bobby, don't worry. I'm sure business will pick up in the next, Rent is due in 10 minutes, Lynn."
In 10 minutes.
"Yeah, Bob, I'm sure we'll get all we need in 10 minutes. The second youngest of the Belcher children, an autismo named Gene, walked up to his parents. "Mom, if we end up on the street, does that mean I can finally become one of those hobo musicians that people throw money at to play show tunes?" he asked. "Ask your father, dear." Bob gained another bag under each eye. "Oh, God," he muttered once again. With that, Gene went off with the other Belcher kids to have a subplot. Suddenly, the landlord of every business on Ocean Avenue, Mr. Fishodor, barged through the front door. Bob could feel his Voldemort scar burn underneath his mustache as Fishodor approached, tears welling up in his eyes. "Guess who's here to collect rent 10 minutes early, Burger family?" the big man on campus exclaimed, making extra sure Bob could hear him. "And if you don't have it at this exact moment, things are going to get uncomfortable," he said, his voice growing serious. Bob came out of the kitchen cautiously, as if approaching a wild animal. "Oh, hello, Mr. Fishodor," he greeted. Mr. Fishodor frowned, looking Bob right in the eye. "I don't think I like your tone, Bob.
It sounds like you don't have money."
Never mind. So, Mr. Fishodor, what are you gonna be for, Halloween?" said Bob, trying in vain to change the subject. Fishodor's expression didn't change. "Well, Mr. Burger, I'm going as what you see before you right now, a very, very upset landlord," he said, with threat in his voice. Bob began to sweat, his voice breaking. "Oh, where is my rent, Bob?" Well, we don't have it. What I mean is, right now. But if you gave us more time..." Fishodor's brow lowered. Linda intervened. "What my Bobby means is that we'll have it by, we don't have it," she said, her confidence fading fast as Fishodor's conquer hockey turned towards her. My mind would not wrap around that sentence.
It's something else. He's got the will of D.
Tisk, Burger Bob and Lady Burger. I thought after our last month's confrontation you would surely have your rent on time. I recall I traded you more time in return for permission to hit you in the mustache, Bob.
That's where his Voldemort scar came from.
Bob's scar seared in pain. Tears now running down his face and his lower lip quivered. I'll tell you what, Bob. I have a small little task that needs to be done. If you can do me this favor, I'll give you more time to pay off your debt to me instead of throwing your burger ass on the burger street with the rest of your mini burger children and mini burger wife and watch your burger starve.
Oh God, where's he gonna go? Where's he gonna send him?
Cool. What is it? Bob asked. Well, you see, there's this group of troublesome teens that have been causing me some trouble. They were called in to investigate my business at the wharf. We're so close to getting out of Halloween. Not Scoob. I'd appreciate it if you could, get rid of them for me. Linda once again intervened. We'll do it. Just send them over here around 8 o'clock and we'll take care of them for you. Lynn! Bob screamed. Ah, very good, Mrs. Berger. I'll be back later to make sure the job is done. Don't disappoint me again, Bob.
We should have used your pumpkin beer as lighter fluid.
You're right. I don't know if that would work, but maybe.
Keep it rolling.
Fish Odor turned and promptly left the rest. Just make a Molotov and throw it at the fire.
Yeah.
Fish Odor turned and promptly left the restaurant, leaving the married couple to plan for the oncoming evening. Chapter 2. A Ghoulish Plot. Now, Bob, I'm pretty sure he wanted us to kill these teenagers, Linda complained, waiting on her husband. We're not killing kids, Lynn. He said to just get rid of them, so we could probably, scare them off or something, Bob said from the inside of the main bathroom.
Not those kids.
After a couple of minutes, Bob came out, dressed up in a plain white shirt with a plain white sheet with cutout eye holes. Ah, look at my spooky Bobby. Spooky? You're scared by this? Bob laughed.
I hate the dry humor of Bob's Burgers in text form.
Steven got it down.
I fucking love Bob's Burgers.
I know you do.
You seen the movie yet?
Oh yeah, I loved it.
Haven't seen it yet. I watched the first season or two, but I don't have TV, so.
Nah, I got you.
Such is life.
What? No, not really, Bob. I was flirting, Linda said, dumbfounded. Oh. Just then, the ringing of the restaurant's entrance bell could be heard. Oh, okay, I think that's them. Just do as we rehearsed and I'll be down in a bit, alright? Bob instructed. Yeah. I got it, Bobby, I got it. Linda went downstairs to the restaurant, finding 4 20-something teenagers and a big-ass dog standing near the entrance. Linda immediately took notice of the illegal animal getting his baseball mitt-sized paws all over her floor. Oh, no. No dogs allowed inside. Now get out of here. Come on. Big Mom picked up the mongoloid in her arms and walked towards the front door, struggling to keep her balance with the 80-pound mutt scrambling around in her arms.
I thought she was just gonna grab his ear really hard.
Raggy! The dog screamed. The shaggy-headed teen in the bunch spoke up. Hey, you don't have to... No, honey, I got him for you, Linda interrupted, audibly exhausted. Linda managed to push the door open with her foot before lunging outside, losing her grip on the Great Dane and dropping him square on his ribs.
Oh. How did he fall like that?
Yeah, little legs all the way out.
She's holding him horizontally and she dropped him.
The dog let out a loud yelp before scrambling to its feet. Now there you go. Now just stay there like a good doggy, the abuser instructed, using her foot to block the dog from coming back and she shut the door. All All but the blonde jock of the team gave a look of concern before introducing. He did not look concerned.
He's dealt with this before.
Before introducing themselves to the 40-something with a pair of 40s, Fred shook Linda's hand and explained, "Hi there. We're Mystery Inc., and we're in town to investigate some strange happenings that have been going down at the wharf. Mr. Fishoder told us that you and your husband had some information for us." Linda's eyes shifted side to side as she struggled to sew a lie together. Yeah, there's been a crazy stuff going on at the wharf. Crazy stuff. Like, you wouldn't believe how crazy the stuff that goes down at the wharf is. Really crazy. That stuff is at the wharf. Yeah. Linda looked over her shoulder, seeing Bob looking down. I also don't like reading the Bob's Burger humor in text form. It's exhausting.
I've watched so much of this show, I've got the patterns down.
You do.
pat.
It's perfect.
Now I know what you mean when you had like two different Bobs in your brain. I had completely forgotten about Bob Belcher.
Yeah, Bob Belcher and Bob from Food Dip were the only two Bobs I had in my head.
Food Dip.
Right back at you guys. This is Bob from Food Dip. Oh, we got a plane. We got a hype plane.
Oh shit.
Linda looked over her shoulder, seeing Bob looking down from the top of the stairs discreetly. He turned his hand over and over, indicating for her to get on with it.
Whoa, the fire came back to life.
Whoa, let's go.
How?
I did it!
How?
The plane.
I guess it's like just not humid anymore, but we didn't touch the fire for like an hour. Now it's just kicking back up. This is awesome.
Fucking pilot tossed his Molotov. Hell yeah. Halloween, baby. The fire loves Bob's Burgers.
We're feeding it good energy.
But, you should see what goes on here at Bob's Burgers. We got ourselves a spooky but sexy ghost flying all over this place, scaring away all our customers, which is why we, can't afford rent. Yeah. Shaggy's hair did the thing where it looks like Ness from Earthbound after getting shocked. Whoa, zoinks! Like, I'm getting the whole fuck out of here, man. I'm gonna go hang with Scoob.
Loiter.
The lanky stanky ran out of the restaurant and sat next to his dog, holding his knees in fear. Fred smiled. "Looks like we have two mysteries on our hands, gang. Mind if we look around for clues, Mrs. Burgers?" "It's Belcher, dear. But yeah, if you want."
Mrs. Burgers. God damn.
"Wait, now hold on. The sign on your restaurant says Bob's Burgers, so that has to mean that this last name is Burger, which would mean that if you're his wife, your last name must also in fact be Burgers," Fred began, not letting this one lie. What? No, hon. The name of the restaurant is Bob's Burgers, not Bob's. No. I saw what I saw, Mrs. Burgers. I've had it up to here with people trying to tell me I don't know what I know. So now stop lying to me right now. Fred's eyes gained scleras as he widened them, screaming at the old woman. Tell me what your name is, Fred demanded. Just then, Bob walked into the dining area, trying to somehow get things back on track. "Oh, I am the ghost of Billy Mays, yeah. The power of Kaboom and the of glove. I think he made that. Anyway, I'm here to haunt this very successful burger restaurant with really good food and fair prices. The hours are on the door." "Jeepers, Fred. It's the ghost of old Madam Linda was telling us about," Daphne said in shock. "Don't worry, gang. I've got this one," Fred said. Fire's blowing.
Hell
It's
yeah.
kicking.
Fred got into a football pose, his hulking shoulders and barrel-chested flexing in his whole sweater. I don't think Ghost Burger Bob started, backing away. "Run, Bobby, run!" Linda shrieked. "Ah!" Bob turned and began to run away, tripping on a sheet. Fred snorted and blew smoke out of his nostrils.
Snow?
Before roaring like a big fucking moose. He used his meter 3 and darted half of the restaurant's length in one bound, tackling Bob with the force of a freight train, smashing into his spine and ribs as he threw the middle-aged man into the hard floor.
Jesus.
Oh God, Lynn! Bob shouted in searing pain. Now let's see who this ghost really is, Fred said cheerily, ripping the sheet in half in order to unmask the delinquent.
In a half.
Bob coughed up blood as he drifted out of consciousness, in and out, the lights hurting his eyes. It's Old Man Bob's Burgers, the team exclaimed. Chapter 3, The Last Straw.
Oh, God.
Well, this isn't looking very good for you, Burgers, Mr. Fishoder said, shaking his head. Bob groaned as he set in his back and neck brace, peeking out of his black eye. And to think all you had to do was get rid of a few teenagers and their funny mud. But you couldn't even do that. We're sorry, Mr. Fishoder. I didn't take them to be the violent type, Linda said, comforting her disabled husband. Fishoder waved her apology off. Now, Mrs. Belcher. Luckily for you, you and your gimpy slimpy over here, that there's one thing you could do for me if you would like an extension of your rent. Linda and Bob turned their attention to him, listening. You see, myself and a bunch of our area's wealthier gentlemen like to meet every Halloween at a local pizza establishment. We like to have ourselves a friendly eating competition, and whoever wins is proclaimed the king of pizza for the whole year. There really isn't any value in it besides bragging rights, but I personally would enjoy having the title this time around. You get a little crown and everything. Now, being as I care immensely about keeping my physique, and you don't, I would be more than willing to postpone your rent if Bob over here can eat his way to my crown. Mr. Fishoder, it hurts when I breathe in. I don't think I can eat, Bob started weakly. Nonsense, Bob. Why, you're the spitting image of every... Oh, this is Mr. Fisher. I for sure thought Linda would back him up.
True.
Nonsense, Bob. Why, you're the spitting image of every competitive eater I've ever seen online. Just meet me at the CC's downtown, and we'll show those old misers who the true king is.
Misers?
Fishoder asserted, before walking back out of the restaurant. Later, Bob and Linda entered the CC's, looking over to see a 20-topper being occupied by 5 of the town's richest. The couple bought their buffet and drinks and sat next to Mr. Fishoder. They're just competing to see who can eat more from the CC's buffet. Yeah. That's awful.
That fucking Paw Patrol story ruined your life.
They have to become king of pizza.
This Scooby subplot is just gone.
I'm sure Shaggy will make an appearance.
He fucking disabled Bob. He's in one of those braces at the support beams.
That was so violent.
Mr. Fishoder and the others congregated and began the competition. Arranging a row of seats and plates, each contestant sat down with the exception of Fishoder, who stood behind Bob. Linda rubbed Bob's shoulders throughout the support beams of his neck brace, encouraging him. Now, I know your back is all busted up, Bobby, but you've got this. You can eat out any of these namby-pamby rich people. Us poor people are built for eating as much as we can. Wait, my hand accidentally touched the scrolling wheel.
Oh no. Mamby-pamby. God. Poor Bob.
Poor man's having it so bad.
He's broken and he's still doing favors for Mr. Fishoder.
We're not that poor. Oh, of course not, Bobby, of course not. Now let him have it! Bob looked down the line at his other competition, sizing them up a bit as he prepared for the great stuffing.
Oh, here we go.
You know, Lynn, now that I actually look, I think maybe we might actually have a chance at this. Just then, the man sitting next to Bob, a snarky-looking fellow dressed in a purple suit and a big purple top hat. Fuck! I was waiting for that.
He's gonna make you say the iconic line.
With a big blonde mustache, turned to look Bob in the eyes. He leaned forward and bragged with a tone-deaf outside voice. I can eat a lot of pizza. Bob gulped, his eyes widening with concern.
Me and Steven say that to each other like every time we go over to your house.
It's true.
What? I can eat a lot?
I can eat a lot of pizza.
I can eat a lot of pizza.
This is a stupid Paw
from?
Patrol, like Five Nights at Freddy's thing we did, where they went to Cece, or we just called Freddy Fazbear Cece's, and you were like, I don't care.
I can eat a lot of pizza. Bob gulped, his eyes widening with concern. Oh, God. Just then, Fish Odor shot off a starting gun, blowing a hole in the ceiling. Begin! The servers of the CCs begin piling out, setting different random pizzas on each contender's plate. Bob reached down and started, they have these damn servers under their gun.
They're each getting their random slices with different toppings.
They're each getting their $1 tip.
They're working for it, too. Minimum wage.
Bob reached down and started eating his 5 slices of sausage and spinach flatbread pizza, stuffing it down as quickly as he could. He finished his plate in about 2 minutes, and was immediately served a plate of 4 pieces of stuffed crust pepperoni. Go, Bobby, go! Linda cheered into his ear. Bob managed to stuff down the stuffed crust, burping and groaning, and his injuries were being triggered by his now enlarged diaphragm. Oh, God, Bob said weakly. Fish Odor slapped down a plate of 7 macaroni and cheese pizza slices.
That's so many carbs.
Smacking Bob upside his broken head. Get a move on now, Burger Man. Mayor Humdinger over there hasn't already finished 8 plates, Fish Odor commanded.
He wasn't lying.
Oh, God, this paragraph is really long. I'm fearing what it's going to say.
Take a deep breath.
The man in the purple suit, Mayor Humdinger, sat stuffing his face. He finished 2 more plates in the time it took the group to look at him.
He said they were the wealthiest men in New Jersey. He's a mayor of another city.
I mean, he moves around all the time.
I guess. Whatever.
The foggy-bottomed bastard putting his slices up his nose before honking them into his mouth through his sinuses and swallowing them whole. He looked over and Bob gave a smirk. Putting a slice in his lips like chewing tobacco for later. The mayor balled up the rest of the plate into the shape of an apple and ate it in 2 bites. Humdinger then took his...
Took his what?
Fuck. He balled it up into the shape of an apple and ate it in 2 bites just to brag about the 2-bite apple challenge.
Fuck you, dude.
For anyone who doesn't know, eating the apple in 2 bites is impossible.
But not for a mayor.
Not for Humdinger.
Humdinger then took the next... I'm like not even 1/20th of the way through this fucking paragraph. Humdinger then took his next plate and slapped all the slices together, shuffling them around like playing cards, before fingering through them and swallowing them whole. He then smashed his next plate of slices into the shape of a car and began playing with it, driving his Zombmobile all over the table and across Bob's neck brace before running it into his mouth and eating it. Humdinger then took out a war helmet and put it on top of his top hat, matching some pizzas into a gun and pretending to shoot it, making bad gunshot noises with his mouth before aiming it into his maw, swallowing it as if he was shooting himself in the mouth. He then took 1 big slice and folded it into a swan-like origami, even making it able to move its neck while he pulled out the tail. After he had eaten his greasy swan, he took 4 slices and made them into those Spanish clapper things that they used when they dance. Just a sec, I have to Google what they're called. Okay, they're called castanets, apparently. Yeah, he made those and they worked. I think it's because of how stale the crust was or whatever. Anyway, he then cracked those things for a bit while dancing stereotypically in his seat before eating them down. Then he mashed a bunch of slices from 2 plates into a straw hat and became Mayor D. Humdinger, who made a CGI CC Nomi and became a pizza human. He sang "We Are" for a little bit, then away, yet another gag. Humdinger then formed the next few slices into a newsboy cap, placing it on his head before walking out of the CC's and getting into a car. Humdinger drove up to the drive-thru of his local Taco Bell. Fuck! I can't keep going. Taco
as soon as
Bell,
you said
Taco
newsboy
Bell.
hat.
Product placement: Taco Bell, Anchorito, Nacho Burrito. Woohoo! I totally stole that song from Kung Pao. Oh well. Sang Humdinger, putting on a... Why does this matter if Bob can't see it? We're leaving the realm. We're leaving the stage of the play.
It's Bob's Burgers humor.
Are there cutaway gags in Bob's Burgers?
No.
Humdinger's completely broken the meta.
Sang Humdinger, putting on an obnoxious broken Italian accent. Humdinger then caught a sight of the long line of cars at the drive-thru. Oh, now I have to wait in this huge line. Halloween rush line, he bitched. After a couple crossfades, Humdinger pretended to be shaken awake.
Bob's got time to catch up.
Finally. He then sat driving up at the menu. Hello, he shouted. Hi, how you doing? Spoke the person through the loudspeaker. I'm a-doing fantastic. Oh, what can I get you? Oh, can I get soft taco, please? Okay, anything else? No, that will be it for me. Okay, your total is gonna be $1.08 at the window. $1.08? Okay. The camera crossfaded again needlessly. Humdingerino looked at the camera with a forced smile. Okay, he said with noticeably less enthusiasm. Another crossfade as Humdinger was apparently approaching the window. We're finally here. Oh, he complained. Before the woman waiting for him at the window could speak, Humdinger greeted her. Hello, it's me, Mario. He then turned to the camera and made a face, doing a little shitty jig in his car seat. The chick at the window was noticeably unimpressed in her tone. Okay, it's gonna be $1.08, Mario. Why, thank you. Think I have it right here in my Game Boy wallet. Humdinger began sifting through his Tinker Toy before the window woman interrupted him. Excuse me, but we don't serve Nintendo characters here. Excuse me? Humdinger screamed, upset. Yeah, you see that dumpster over there? That's where we serve Nintendo characters. Excuse me. The woman jeered, going back into the Taco Bell before Humdinger could retaliate. Humdinger looked at the camera angrily. Whoa, I've never been so insulted in my life. Don't serve Nintendo characters. Humdinger gave a sad look, covering his mouth. He waited to be served for 10 minutes, the girl at the window not acknowledging him as he tried to get her attention. Hey! What? What? Humdinger pretended to be seething with rage, breathing into the camera while trying to move his mustache with his upper lip. He whispered in an aside to the camera. I can't believe how I'm being treated here. I cannot believe the way I'm being treated here. Bah! He reiterated that he was insulted, crying crocodile tears as the girl approached the window again. Yeah, $1.08, Mario, she asked. Yeah, here's your money. Oh, shoot! Humdinger said, dropping his coin. Oh, you dropped your dime. I'm so sorry about that, she teased. Humdinger didn't even look into her in the eyes, which is why he probably didn't know his grip on his coin was non-existent as it too fell out of his fingers. Here's a quarter, and then the goof! Oop, you dropped that too. They continued that gag for a bit until finally Retardio managed to throw a quarter at the bitch and pay for his food. He made a joke about his coin collection and how many levels it took to get them all. The woman gave him his change, and chucked his soft taco at him with a reckless abandon, telling him goodbye. Humdinger's forehead veins bulged with a loud Funimation sound effect. "You bitch!" he screamed, shaking his fist. He screamed like a dying flamingo at the camera before ending the gag.
Steven, what possessed you to do that?
I was just
Did you copy and paste that from their
Yes!
Absolutely.
Okay.
That is shot for shot, word for word, the Rich Alvarez Taco Bell
Well, yes,
drive-thru.
but did you copy it from another story or did you rewrite it?
No, I rewrote it.
He's never done that beat for beat before, but now he's being a bastard.
It feels like a copy pasta. Like you should just go into like 4chan threads and post this everywhere until it becomes such a meme that everybody else has accepted your fate.
His fate.
His fate to know such a cursed interaction.
Hey, you were one window away from also having a Mario drive-thru reference.
I tried, but I didn't go that in depth. Humdinger drove back up to Cece's only to notice that all his other rich cohorts were standing outside. And what's more, Fish Hoder's weird burger man had the coveted Pizza King crown.
Yo.
What's the meaning of this? Humdinger screamed, holding his bag of Taco Bell. Fish Oder smiled devilishly. Well, my dumb dinger friend, once you left the premises, you forfeited your Cece's buffet, which means that you could no longer compete. And while you were out doing whatever you were doing, my amazing pizza inhaler here managed to clean the floor with the rest of our competition. So that means I'm the new Pizza King. Fish Oder took the crown off of Bob and placed it on his own head, which prompted the others to bow in his wake. Now the king demands that we all go over to our local Dairy Queen and buy me a large blizzard. As for you, Burger Family, you earned another week before rent is due. Happy Halloween. The landlord and his cohorts left. A defeated and pissed off Humdinger stomping behind. Linda hugged her poor injured husband, half awake, after having gained a solid 14 pounds from the amount of Cece's he was forced to ingest.
I hate the bare minimum it takes for us to consider something a holiday special.
Mine was scary.
That's Scooby-Doo.
Or Scooby-Doo earlier.
Him going, oh, and happy Halloween.
And Linda dropping a dog on his side.
Look at you. You did it, Bob, Linda said, happy for her husband. Bob belched a sulfur burp as his stomach rotted before it be digested, prompting another spike of pain in his back and everywhere else. Oh God. The end. I like your fonts.
Thank you.
Wow.
There you go.
I give that a Bob's Burgers House door gag out of 10.
I give that the Scooby-Doo movie music playing inside the Cece's Pizza. Quietly on the loudspeakers as they eat pizza.
Quietly on the loudspeaker.
Oh, that music.
What a classic. What a classic.
Indeed.
Well, happy Halloween, everybody. Thanks for joining us for another exciting year. I hope you enjoyed our stories. I know I did. We had a very good time. Lots of bangers this year, as per usual.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween! Good night! There's no jump scare. Sorry.